The Atlanta Falcons are giving Kirk Cousins a massive payday. They're signing him to a 4-year deal worth $180 million. $100 million of that is going to be fully guaranteed. And this is a really interesting direction that the Falcons have chosen to go at quarterback. Because on one end, you look at how well Kirk Cousins has played for the majority of his career. He's been a top 12 quarterback. And 2023 was the best season of his career. The Minnesota Vikings got out to a slow start, but with how well Kirk Cousins was playing, he helped the Vikings turn their season around. He led them to a big primetime win over the Minnesota Vikings. He was looking like an MVP candidate. And then when things were looking up for Kirk Cousins, disaster struck. He suffers a season-ending Achilles injury. And for the Atlanta Falcons, what makes this signing a really risky one is that you're investing a lot of money into a guy that's coming off an Achilles injury that, with him being this late into his career, he might not be the same quarterback that he once was prior to sustaining that Achilles injury. He might have a little bit of a slight drop-off this year. Plus, he's going to be 36 years old before next season kicks off. And you think about all of the Justin Fields trade talk to Atlanta, all the weeks leading up to free agency. It seemed like after the combine, the Justin Fields Atlanta talk started to lose a little bit of steam. And the closer we got to free agency, the more likely it seemed like Atlanta was leaning in the direction of Kirk Cousins. And many people feel like this decision was not a good one by Atlanta because you could have gotten Justin Fields, a younger option at quarterback, on a way cheaper deal, and you don't have to worry about the durability and regression concerns that you have with Kirk Cousins. And that leads to the question, did Atlanta make the wrong decision signing Kirk Cousins instead of trading for Justin Fields? And I think it is a pretty reasonable discussion to have because Aaron Rodgers is coming off a season-ending Achilles injury also, and the New York Jets don't know how good he's going to be. And when you come off injuries this significant late into your career, especially being Kirk Cousins, who already isn't the most athletically gifted guy at all, he doesn't really have any mobility. Him having this Achilles injury really makes it hard for him to continue to sustain the level of play that he had before that injury occurred last year. And for Justin Fields, him being so young and having all that upside, he looks like an appealing option. But me personally, in my opinion, the Falcons signing Kirk Cousins was the right decision. Because Kirk Cousins, even if he does regress and he isn't the same, he still isn't going to be bad enough where he just falls off to the point that he isn't worthy enough to be a starter. At worst, Kirk Cousins gives you top 18 quarterback play, which still is good enough to win you the division and maybe win a playoff game because you got a really good team around Kirk Cousins. Drake London, B. John Robinson, Kyle Pitts. You're going to have a really good defense. And with how accurate of a passer and how well Kirk Cousins plays within structure and with Atlanta's offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, coming from the Sean McVay coaching tree, Kirk Cousins is a perfect fit for the kind of offense Zach Robinson wants to run. He wants to have a quarterback that can make good decisions with the football and can be an accurate passer. Those are things that Justin Fields is not. Justin Fields is a better athlete than he is a quarterback. And you see, everybody is so infatuated with what Justin Fields could be instead of looking at Justin Fields for what he already is. And what he already is right now, we don't know. And that's the biggest mystery with Justin Fields. And for Atlanta, if you're Raheem Morris and the Atlanta Falcons front office, why do you want to continue to play musical chairs with quarterbacks that you don't know their ceiling, when you can just go ahead and get an already sure thing that that at worst is still going to be pretty productive? Because the worst version of Justin Fields could possibly have Atlanta picking in the top 5, top 10 of the draft in 2025 again. So getting Kirk Cousins gives Atlanta the best chance to win right now because you're not waiting on potential. You already know what Kirk Cousins is. That's a pretty solid quarterback. And if he picks up from where he left off last year, does it piss you off how much you pay for your monthly phone bill? Why are you getting frustrated when our partner Mint Mobile has plans as low as $15 a month that give you unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network? Stop getting frustrated with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and go to trymintmobile.com/JT Sports and description and pin comment down below to get access to premium wireless for only $15 a month. That's only $15 a month. Switching to Mint is easy. It only takes 15 minutes to do. If you're pissed off with how much you pay for your monthly phone bill, switch to Mint Mobile today and go to trymintmobile.com/JT Sports in description and pin comment down below to get premium wireless for only $15 a month. Stop getting upset with how much you spend on your monthly phone bill and switch to Mint Mobile today. Not only are the Falcons not just going to be a lock to win the NFC South, but they possibly could make a little bit of a playoff run also. You can't say the same if they have Justin Fields at quarterback because he isn't good in the fourth quarter. Since he's been the starter for the Bears in 2021 and so forth up until this point, he is the worst fourth quarter quarterback in the NFL. He is dead last in completion percentage. He leads all quarterbacks since 2021 in fourth quarter interceptions. He just isn't a winning quarterback when it comes to building a championship team. Now, if you're looking for a quarterback that can just get you by for a season or two, then Justin Fields is a good option. But for Atlanta, you rather gamble with Kirk Cousins than gamble with Justin Fields because the ugly of Justin Fields is you not making the playoffs. The ugly of Kirk Cousins is you could still possibly be a playoff team and win maybe 9-10 games and get in as a 7th or 6th seed, but you can't say the same with Justin Fields because Justin Fields hasn't proven to be able to win. At least with Kirk Cousins, you know you give him a good supporting cast, he's going to get the job done. And Justin Fields is just so much of a wild card that if you're a head coach getting a second opportunity like Raheem Morris and you're a defensive-minded coach, why would you even want to waste time on that when you don't have a lot of time to prove yourself as a head coach, especially this being your second opportunity? This is most likely going to be the last time Raheem Morris ever gets a head coaching job if this doesn't work out. So he has to make the most of it. And it doesn't make sense for him to put his job security on the line for a quarterback that you don't really know how good he is. And you got to try to unlock the code to him reaching his potential when you can just go with Kirk Cousins, have success right away. And then as Kirk Cousins continues to get older and he regresses, then you can find his successor. But, you know, the whole money thing, I don't really think is that big of a deal because $180 million over 4 years and most of it's going to be fully guaranteed. Like, whatever the yearly salary is for Kirk Cousins, nobody really should get too wrapped up in that because the guaranteed money is what matters the most. And Minnesota really wanted to bring Kirk back, even despite his age and his injury, because he's still a fairly good quarterback. But the problem is that he was asking for way more than what the Vikings were willing to risk, and the Atlanta Falcons were willing to roll the dice and jump in the water and see if Kirk Cousins can still pick up from where he left off, because even if the regression does hit because of that injury, he won't just completely fall off the cliff where he's like Russell Wilson and he's no longer starter quality. But, you know, the thing with Kirk Cousins is that with the pieces that Atlanta has around them and Zach Robinson running a Sean McVay offense, this offense should be pretty good with Kirk Cousins at the helm next year. And if I had to give you guys my early NFC South predictions, I would go with Atlanta. Not really because of the recency bias, but I wanted to pick Atlanta to win the NFC South last year, but I just didn't have a lot of faith in Arthur Smith or Desmond Ridder at quarterback, and I was proven right. This year, though, with you having a head coach getting his second opportunity, you know, he's not new to this. He is experienced. He's going to be able to learn from his mistakes. He has a pretty good staff in place, and you got a really dependable and solid quarterback that in the NFC South that doesn't really have strong quarterback play and good head coaches. Atlanta should really be able to easily win this division. as long as Raheem Morris is a decent coach. But if they had Justin Fields instead of Kirk Cousins, then it just makes this team a bigger mystery than what they already are with Kirk, because with Justin Fields, you don't know what to expect. You don't know if this dude is going to continue to play the way he has in Chicago, or if you really have the system and the infrastructure in place to get the most out of Justin Fields and for him to reach his potential. So for all the Justin Fields cultists and the Justin Fields fanboys out there, it's like, you guys keep saying he should be starting, the Chicago Bears did him wrong, but what you're saying is way different from what the league is saying. And the league is what is responsible for determining somebody's value and trying to put an estimation on how good somebody is. And the NFL right now doesn't think Justin Fields is that good. He's not even that good at all. I already told you guys that I think he's extremely overhyped. I don't think he's bad, but I don't really think he's a quarterback that right now really gives you anything special other than upside and potential. And upside and potential doesn't win you games in the NFL. The NFL is a production-based business. You got to go out there and you got to produce, even if you don't have the greatest situation. And it's not like Justin Fields was playing on a shitty team last year. The Bears won 7 games. They had a top 10 defense during the second half of last season. Their defense carried them throughout the majority of that year. If it wasn't for the defense, they possibly would have only won maybe 1-2 games. So the decision to sign Kirk Cousins instead of Justin Fields, to me, was a really good one. It was a decision that was safe to make, and it's a decision that I think is going to pay off dividends for Atlanta.